Hey, what's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with another episode of Draft to Glory Goon Squad, where we are dealing with the aftermath of the most ridiculous moment in the history of my channel. Of course, in the last episode, we were gifted Frederick McDonough. Thanks to the San Jose Sharks. It is still ridiculous to realize that he's on this team, and I've honestly struggled to think of how do I start this episode with anything else but just looking at his attributes, where it's absolutely insane that this player is ours. Second overall, an immediate top 2 defenseman, 92 overall, medium franchise at 20 years old. The one downside, not that great offensively, but I can't imagine him being terrible. I cannot imagine it. So the first thing we're going to do is, of course, sign him to his entry-level deal. Now, that aside, we do still have some concerns. I'm going to let go of Henrik Lundqvist, and we're also going to sign Lapointe, although he's Canadian, is he not? He is Canadian. I'm going to leave him as an unsigned player. So when looking at our goaltending, we have Justice, Mikkola, Brodin, Kasky Swo will be here for one more year. Aside from, of course, being ecstatic about that signing, we do still have to worry about trying to keep players on this team happy. I was hoping we wouldn't lose morale from cutting Jake Dotchin. This is a risk I'm willing to take, though. By letting these players go, we're going to look to bring in some other players that might be able to make this team be a little bit better. Of course, that's apparently the best way to go, as we saw last season. Yes, some players benefited from the extra ice time, but the morale, the locker room chemistry, that's our biggest concern right now, especially in the case of Steven Hines, who needs to recover. He is an RFA, so we don't really have to worry about losing him, but we need this to turn around for us. When it comes to Cowan or Lettinen, I'm going to see if I can avoid signing players for now. Hopefully they can continue to develop. Kerdiles, we'll let go of you. Delorier as well. I'm sorry. There's a good chance we'll bring back Delorier. And anybody who is unsigned, I'm actually going to keep them that way. As we'll also let go of Dominic Turgeon. Anybody who's unsigned, we're going to keep it that way. And hopefully they can progress at a little bit better of a rate. So really the only thing we had to do here. And by the way, as was pointed out in the comment section, Nolan Foote has improved from high top 6 to medium elite, which could be a drastic, like game-changing, series-changing improvement when you talk about who our top 6 is starting to shape up to be, when you talk about having that elite second pairing. The goaltending could be all right in the future, depending on certain player progression. We're looking all right. But what we have to do now is get this team set up. We have to get it so that we're in a somewhat competitive state, which again is not what this series was supposed to be, but we have no choice, as we are going to need to bring in a goaltender, probably to be the, so he's got to be weaker than a 73, either that or we bring in a starter and Justice is the backup, which could work. So for goaltending, I'm thinking let's bring in a starter. I honestly just completely blanked on how many contracts we have too, so that's not ideal. So we'll start off by sending out a couple of offers. And the question is, who do we go for? Pekka Rinne is a 79 overall at 39 years old. Henrik Lundqvist is still there at 40. I don't really want to hand anybody too big of a contract. Maybe we'll go for Antti Ranta? Yeah, let's go for Ranta. If he's willing to accept, which guess what? He will be once I hand him a ridiculous amount of money. Again, we've tried a couple of different strategies. We know what we're going to have to do to keep this team in good shape as far as that locker room chemistry goes. It's just a new hurdle that we're going to have to deal with throughout the course of the series. I still want to avoid Sasunov. I'm amazed, though, that he has continued to improve despite the fact that he's been on the free agent list this entire time. I don't think he'll get too much better. but still we'll avoid them all. So bring in Sam Morin. Jamie Alexiak will sign Morin for $5 million, hopefully. Colton Parayko. He's a bit too good, if we're being honest. He's a bit too good. So actually, let's see. We have offers out for Alexiak and Morin. Let's go take a look at our contracts again. I wish there was a button where you could just jump to view contracts from the free agent page. That would probably help. Or if you could add different information, like how many contracts you currently have. So we're at 36. This would bring us up to 39. Our defense at the moment, really the only NHL guys are McDonough and Hines. That's it. So I need to bring in 4 more players. And then it would be Galley, Alcock, Ball, Hickett, Solani, and Bruce, I suppose, as the 6 at the AHL level. So let's go send out 2 more defensive offers, and then we're pretty much good to go. Maybe even 3, maybe a depth guy. But then again, Riley Bruce can be that depth guy. So we should be fine. So 2 more offers to defensemen. Again, we are going to try to basically sim well over a calendar year in this episode. We'll see what happens. Of course, if something crazy like the last episode happens, if something to that magnitude happens, we might not make it all the way through. Oh, do we want to bring back Ben Sherratt? Does he have friends on the team? I imagine he does. We can't check, which is pretty dumb. Let's see if we can bring him back. $3 million for 1 year. And one other guy. Let's go for Jake Dotchin. Because we know that he at least had one friend on this team. We'll try to go $5 million. So that'll bring us up to 41 contracts. And we're going to have at least 1 offer or 2 that needs to go in. We'll try to bring back Tom Wilson. See if we can get him at $3 million. And from there, we'll bring back Kerdiles, and then that's the last offer I'm going to send out for the moment, because I want to see what the cap situation is. If everybody accepts, we're still going to need to get close, at least close to the floor, so that we have that freedom to do what we want as far as who plays at the NHL level and who plays at the AHL level. So Ront is here, Alexiak, Wilson, Morin, Dotchin, Kerdiles, and Sherratt. Nice. Not too shabby. So our goaltending is taken care of. Again, it'll be Ranta and Justice for the AHL, or for the NHL, I should say. And at the AHL level, it'll be Brodin and Mikkola, with Kasky Swo again acting as the 5th goaltender in case of injury. The defense is basically good to go. Riley Bruce will be sent down. So now it's just to add another forward or 2. That's pretty much it. We'll just look to bring in maybe 3 forwards. Of course, we know what the cap space situation is, so we'll just sign 3 guys. We get to the start of the preseason. We set up this team. We breeze through the season, even though I'm not expecting too much, of course. And then we see what happens. I'm mainly intrigued, of course, by who's going to be available in the next draft. So Kyle Clifford will be brought on. See, we had, $36 million in space. So I'm going to go 15 and 15 for 2 of them. Maybe a little bit less. But 15 mil for Kyle Clifford. Let's go. And actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll go 15 and 15. We'll bring in Dominic Turgeon for 15 million as well, and then whoever the last guy is will get a measly $7 million. I know, it's how will he ever live with just $7 million? It's going to be Mike McCarron, who actually I didn't even need to do that. That was just have it. We'll bump this up. Honestly, I don't even have to go the full amount. Let's just go 3 mil. That works. Sorry, Mike, you're going to get less than half of what I promised. I'm a liar. What can I say? I'm a terrible person saying you were going to get, $7 million roughly. That didn't happen. But there we go. We got those 3 forwards signed. To the beginning of the preseason we go. Now, I did want to point out as well, as far as webcam, face cam goes with these videos, that is a part of the plan. I definitely need to start doing that more frequently, especially for moments like in the last episode. But, I mean, just to see the shocked look on my face, I'm sure it would have been something. I am going to try to do it more frequently. Obviously, I'm not doing it with this episode, as you are well aware of at this point. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. There's really no excuse to not do it. It's just oftentimes I record these episodes after streaming for 4 to 5 to 6 hours, and then it's like, oh yay, more being in front of the camera, when oftentimes I just kind of want to sit back and just not have to play to the camera, basically. I don't know. It's laziness. That's what it comes down to. It is flat out laziness, and I'm sorry. And I know it takes away from my own videos, a bit, so really, I shouldn't be lazy when it comes to that, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's get the team set up. We'll take a look. My God, he's already at 93. Nolan Foote, Zanetti, and McDonald are good as well. Jesus, this team could be decent. Brodin and Mikkola are both high 60s. So, Hines, though, is the major concern. He needs to improve this season. Oh, let's see. So, Downing and Tokarski are going to be sent down for the moment. Yeah, they're going to be the top-end guys at the AHL level. So, let's take a look at what our team is going to be. If we go best lines, of course, do we have anybody else here that's ours? We don't. So, between McDonald and Zanetti, who goes up on the top line? Oh, low lead or medium top six. McDonald did lead our team in points last season, and for that reason, I'm going to go with McDonald. Actually, I could go with all three. Can anybody play center? McDonald or Foote? No. All right, so we'll go with McDonald. Maybe? Or not. Maybe we'll go with basically how it set it up. I'm actually okay with that. Yeah, I'm actually okay with that, and that's pretty much what it'll default to all season long. So we do have Foote, Graves, and Abraham Zanetti, McDonald, Turgeon Wilson, Gerdiles, Donato, McCarron. Of course, we have some guys here who are listed as two-ways. I could go through the trouble of switching everyone to a grinder. I'm not going to bother. So it is Hines and McDonough on the top pairing, which, of course, is what we care about. Justice will get ice time as the backup. Of course, by default, it'll put Rent in since he's the higher overall guy. So the NHL lines are pretty much good to go. We need to take out Kaski-Swo for Brodin. It's actually weird that it put in Mikkola over Brodin as the backup. On defense, is there anyone we have to take out for Vainio? Solani, and is Rourke also ours? Yes, he is. Okay, so Matty Solani comes in. And I'm sorry to one Riley Bruce, you're not going to be too happy about this, but take a seat, buddy. I'll send him up to the NHL, and maybe he'll be a little bit less disappointed about, at least getting to sit in the press box at an NHL game instead of not playing at the AHL level. Hopefully that's the case. Do I have to go best lines again? I might as well. So we take out Vainio again for Rourke. And who is the best prospect? I mean, none of them are great. That's the problem. None of them are great. So we might as well go with the highest overall players. Let's go with Ball and Galley, Alcock and Hicketts. Solani with Rourke. That works. That defense is a little bit rough still. And then forward-wise, is there anybody that we need to put into the lineup? Barlow is ours. Yes, he is. Let's get him in the lineup. Anybody else? I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because you know me. I'll just butcher it. I think Chorney is a player. Of course he is. He's an enforcer. Is there anybody else that we can take out of the lineup? See, this is a problem where not everybody is going to get to play. But we have no choice but to move forward like this, because otherwise the NHL team is going to suffer and Hines might not recover. So it's either we get everybody in the lineup or someone like Hines ends up, suffering by not being in the lineup. In fairness, I could take out Big Reg because he is not that great, but we'll keep him in. Let's go Reg on the fourth line. Any medium bottom six enforcers will get dropped. We'll have Beta on the third line. More medium bottom six. There's another medium bottom six, but Tokarski's half decent. So that actually looks all right. Let's go with Herdina at center. Chung, Chorney, and Gillies. Can either of you play center? We'll go with Gillies at center. Let's go Roberts on the right, Flynn on the right, medium bottom six. You know what? I think that works. Lyson at center, Downing at center. Beautiful. So it's still a little bit rough, of course. That's to be expected. Not all of our picks have delivered, of course, but boy, when they've hit, haven't they hit? Frederick McDonough getting ready for his rookie season. Now, the one thing I need to look at would be our captains and whether or not Hines is already a captain. He is. Hines is already the captain of this team. So, unfortunately, I can't take it away from Tom Wilson and give it to Hines to boost up his morale. So, I mean, yeah, we're just going to have to get it back. McDonough, by default, is already there. A couple of opinions on what number we should have given him. For now, let's go for the number 2. Why not? Let's go for the number 2 as the second pick. Maybe he should be number 1, considering he should have been the number 1 pick. But I wanted to check that with Hines to see how much that would help out. So the question now, who is available? The question now is who is available in the upcoming draft class? Do we have a big-time target? Another franchise-level player? Jesus. That's the 3rd already. We're approaching season 6. That is unreal. Unfortunately, he's not available to us by player type. But yes, some grinders are only 5'10", but I know, guys. I know it's going to be tough to let him go if we get that number 1 pick, which we will this time because we can't take him. But more than likely, our target will be Eric Darling or Ron McKinley with our first pick. And what I do wonder as well, will there be kind of any steals that the game finds for us? I was wondering if there would be any enforcers projected relatively high. That does not appear to be the case. So it'll be an interesting draft. Of course, we're letting the game take care of it for us. We'll see what happens. I know, though. I can already see the comment section as far as people saying, just take him anyway. It doesn't matter. Change him to a grinder. For a second, I thought the game froze there. For a second, the menu wasn't cooperating. Let's get this season sim underway. Let's do it. Although, man, wouldn't that playmaker be helpful in any other series? Again, another franchise-level player. There have been 2 already. We have ended up with one of them. Again, we probably shouldn't have ended up with either of them. I mean, really, we should have, based, because we got screwed out of the lottery. How we still ended up with McDonough, I will never understand. As we are good to go, the regular season, after going winless in the preseason, the regular season is underway, and we start the year off with a win, 2-1 over the Vancouver Canucks. Mason Primo goes down to injury. We'll just have the game replace him. Of course, we do have to remember we have a slightly better team. Justice is out until January. Tremendous. Our backup goalie gets to play and is immediately out until January. My God. Last season was incredibly rough in terms of injuries, and it's looking like this season might not be much different, unfortunately. So Casimir Kaskisuo will get quite a few opportunities to play. We know that means Brodin is in the lineup. The game went best. Did I hit go best Lions or did I hit replace player? Son of a bitch. Oh, great. Well, let's do this again, shall we? The only guy we wanted to worry about here was a coin, though, right? Yeah, because Kozlov isn't ours, so the only guy we got to worry about is getting a coin into the lineup. I'm just going to leave it from there. The defense is still fine. Actually, no, okay, that would have been because of the replaced player. I'm not sure what's up with the goaltending, though. All right, so I did hit replace player, but I'm not sure what's up with the goaltending. We have 3 straight wins to start the year. That is pretty ridiculous considering we still don't have a tremendous team. The draft is expected to be weak, which really doesn't help us out. So we're actually good from that standpoint. It put Primo back in on the 4th line, so that works. Let's keep going. Of course, we have a bunch of 70 overall players in our lineup. How we started this year off 4-1 through our first 5 games. I have no idea, as Steven Hines breaks his nose. Good Lord, let's not do this again with the injuries, please. We're going to go, nope, not scratch player. Let's just go best lines. It keeps that all the same anyway. And that gets Riley Bruce into the lineup. So I guess it was a good call to send up Riley Bruce to begin with. Jack Gillies is back. Ah, damn it, I got to put him back into the lineup too. Here we go. As far as dealing with the ungodly amount of injuries are concerned. You know what? I'm just going to leave the lineup the same because let's be honest, someone else is going to get hurt anyway. I'll have to change it in a minute. As we are 5-2. Shootout win. We lose to the Islanders. 5 wins, though, already this season. Again, I don't necessarily understand it. Yeah, we have Ranta in goal, but you wouldn't think he'd be doing well enough to steal us games. So I'm actually intrigued to look at the lineups here. Nolan Foot's doing all right. Zanetti's killing it. McDonald's doing okay. I mean, no one's really killing it. Let's take a look here. McDonough, 3 points. He's a +1. Hines is back up to an 82, so that's tremendous. We have already recovered with Hines. The problem is, once we get to the point where it's like, okay, it's confirmed, you're not making the playoffs, is that number going to plummet again? Like, is this just a winless battle until we finally get all the prospects we need for this team to consistently make the playoffs on its own merit, as opposed to having to sign the guys like Tom Wilson? I think that's pretty much the game we're playing until we get to where we want to be. Also, I wonder how much Squeaky Chair is picking up on the mic. I love it, though. Wouldn't have it any other way. John Stevens goes down. Let's just go best lines. It'll put Riley Bruce in as a forward, but whatever. It saves us time. As Hines loses a bit of morale for his recent performance. It's like, can we get the guy some self-confidence, please? Damn. And Sam Morin goes down to injury for like a week, I think it was, but still, that's disruptive. And we'll call up, I don't even know. Who are we going to call up? I don't want to ruin anyone's morale that's actually half decent. Big Reg. Why not? Big Reg gets the call up. Makes sense, I guess. We'll go best lines. Actually, he's not even playing. I just noticed he's not even playing. Because someone else was back to 100%. Probably, no, not Stevens. Stevens was the one that just got hurt. But somebody's back to 100%, and that just kind of screwed me over. It makes room for Gillies to be in the lineup. And I guess it makes sense to have Chung as a option in case of injury. So I got to try and clear my throat here just because I don't necessarily want to stop, make a jump cut. I want to keep the sim going. That is the problem. As Stevens is back. That was indeed what had happened. He wasn't back to 100% at the time. Morin's back as well. Tremendous, as we have 2 straight wins here. And we won 2 out of our final 3. Larry Flynn goes down to injury. My God. Maybe we won't get through the next offseason. Maybe it will just be the draft and stop yet again. We might not have a choice, as I don't know who the hell we want to put in the lineup here. Pitch and line is the best one, so why not? Works for me. I'll be intrigued to see as well the progression that we get from some of our unsigned prospects. We just beat Montreal 10-2. Either we're better than I think, somehow, or the Habs absolutely suck. You know what? I want to stop this as Barlow goes down to injury anyway. Jesus. Let's see. Yeah, Montreal's not good. 6 wins. How we have 13 wins on the year, I don't understand. We have some decent players in our lineup. We have an average starting goaltender. Yet somehow, some way, we are winning games. It just doesn't make sense. But I'll take it. I'm not complaining. Not at all. Although I do want to look at Hines. 82. He's still an 82. No points for him, though, and a -6. Hold on. Frederick McDonough already doesn't get along with Tom Wilson and Kyle Clifford, but gets along very well with Graves and Anuin. A little bit concerned that he's friends with Dotchin and Mike McCarron. That could really screw us over. My God, should I have turned off the morale system at the start of this? But hey, lesson learned. In case we run Draft to Glory again maybe not even this year, but in the future, if we wait until NHL 19, we'll know that this is a thing and that we need to watch out for this, because I imagine it will work the same way that it does this year, next year. So let's get Barlow into the lineup, and we will continue onward. The 14-win Anaheim Ducks as we approach the new year. That is not what I thought I'd be saying. Jake Dotchin goes down with an injured neck. That is tremendously vague, but I suppose you don't need to go into too much further detail. Just that, injured neck. It's like, oh, okay, I can see why he's out. So we'll go best lines again. I think Dotchin was back. Shootout win over the Preds and a win over the Blues. That'll bring us into the new year, 2023, as we have 16 wins on the season. Fairly ridiculous. Let's try to sim to the 9th of April. I think that's our target date to where we could still see rookies scoring. Hines is injured with a neck strain. He's only out for just over a week, 9 days, but still, I'm starting to get very concerned about the amount of injuries here, particularly the amount of injuries to our actual players and prospects. It's being pretty disruptive to their developments, as Hines is actually back a couple of days late. He is back a day later than when he was supposed to be. But as long as he didn't lose morale for it, I guess it doesn't really matter. So we got a pity point against the Arizona Coyotes, 17, 25, and 4. I guess at the very least, while this will screw over our chances, I mean, does it really though? Does it really? Even if we have the number 1 overall pick, the highest odds to get the number 1 overall pick, how many times has it happened? Once? In 5 seasons? Maybe twice? I can't remember at this point, but it's just the common theme of this where we've missed out. I mean, we've missed out on the number 1 pick the past 2 years in a row at the very least. I can confirm that, because we shouldn't have ended up with a franchise-level player, and we didn't the year prior. So I'm not all that concerned about it. It seems like we have just as good of odds if we, finish, 25th than if we were to finish 31st. So it's not all that big of a concern. We have 20 wins on the year. The Gulls are actually okay, which is shocking considering their goaltending and defensive situation, as we have 3 points out of our last 4 games. Is there an injury that we're going to have to deal with? Frederick McDonough, Ben Sherratt, a lot of people are losing morale, which isn't tremendous. There has to be an injury, or someone's back from injury. If there's this long of a pause, it's either really good news or really bad news, and we'll see. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll just keep going, and this is a dramatic, suspenseful pause for no reason whatsoever other than to just create drama, and that's exactly what it was. All right, EA, thanks for that. Or maybe not, because it hasn't simmed this game against Calgary yet. Can we please can we keep going, please? I know you're going to warn me now about, hey, the draft is, or the deadline's in 2 days. I wish the draft was in 2 days. I wish we were making that much progress. We have a 4-game point streak, by the way. Can we make it 5? No, we cannot. Of course, we breezed through deadline day. 22 wins on the season, make it 23 with a 5-4 shootout win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I thought that was going to be an injury, but it's actually somebody who is back, so that's good. By the way, just realized, I wonder if Justice is in as the backup goaltender over Casimir Kaskisuo, like he should be. He was a higher overall, if I'm not mistaken. Abraham Zanetti with 51 points. We are tied in points with Calgary, it said, so I'd like to not finish last in our division for once. Let's take a look. Hey, perfect. 76 overall for Justice. Not bad for a third-round pick. As Chung, Bruce, and Kaskisuo are the healthy scratches. Nolan Foot's up to an 82. Graves is an 80, so that's promising. Let's go best lines very quickly here. And down in the AHL, Connor Roberts, he's slowly but surely getting there, but proving to be a little bit of a bust for a 32nd overall pick. Primo's up to a 72. Brodin and Mikkola are both 70s. Of course, we'll take a look at everybody, as far as stats go and the progression goes once we hit the end of the season. But I'm hopeful that we can at least finish above the Calgary Flames here. That would be extremely helpful as far as not plummeting when it comes to morale, thanks to the locker room chemistry. 4-1 loss to Boston, 3-2 win over the Florida Panthers. We got a big-time game coming up here against the Flames. Can we get the win? No, we cannot. We lost 5-0 in a shootout. Or we lost 5-0 in a shootout. My God, that's what I get. That's what I get. We won 3-2 in a shootout over Florida, lost 3 straight, then lost to Calgary 5-0. I still had the word shootout on the brain, and I don't know why. But yeah, we lost 5-0 in a shootout, guys. Feel free to add that in the comments. I'm sure I'll see that too. Lord knows you guys are ruthless. You won't let me mess up anything without calling me out for it, which I appreciate. But hey, then again, you know what? Mistakes happen. 27 wins on the year, and that is where we'll finish. We probably finished dead last in the division, I would imagine. So, no, we didn't. We beat the Calgary Flames by 1 point. The 3 extra overtime losses save us from, I'd assume, a little bit of extra morale loss. So that is tremendous. We somehow beat the Flames by 1 point. I mean, of course, as far as the standings go, you know our numbers are going to be poor. Although, I mean, we're not perfectly set up in the Goon squad format at the moment, right? But I do wonder, how many times were we shorthanded? Hey, we at least took the most penalties. We at least took the most penalties in the league and had the league's 3rd worst penalty kill. So there's that. I guess that's the number. That is the most important. Abraham Zanetti led this team in points, 58. He had 26 goals. McDonald follows up his rookie campaign with a 50-point season, so 4 more, and also was a plus 55 better. It was a minus 56 last year, only a minus 1 this year. Jay Graves with 46 points. Nolan Foote with 40. And he is the last player we kind of care about. McDonough with 15 points. Is 93 overall. Still Hines with 10. And that pretty much covers it. Reg got to play in 3 games. He had 3 points. Not too shabby. The worst plus-minus on the team was Jake Dotchin at a minus 23. Penalty minutes-wise, it was Dotchin, of course, which is what you would kind of expect. The leader in hits and the man who's going to get a nice little bonus in that check is Frederick McDonough, 172 hits. He also had 139 blocks on the season. Not too bad. I forgot to check, actually. I forgot to take the strategies off as far as, changing the block shots, just to see if that actually does anything. No fights for McDonough, though. 22, Jake Dotchin, the resident goon of this team. He led the league in fights, the only player to have more than 15, and he had 22. There were only 2 players who were double digits in fights this year. Block shots went to Gabriel Carlson. McDonough was second. Hits went to O'Reilly, McAvoy, Zadorov. Wow, that's interesting, I guess. And what else do we have here that we wanted to check? Penalty minute leader was Jake Dotchin by a very big margin. Not too many, crazy kind of goons, really. As far as league scoring goes, Malkin takes it again. He's just a monster. He just does not slow down. For rookie skaters, Kirk Pusher. Yep, the other franchise-level guy that we missed out on. He's going to win the Calder this year, you would imagine. I don't think Velarde will have enough to overcome him. Randy Eves is another player there, but that is a little bit disappointing to see Kirk Pusher there. Imagine, though, just imagine if we had him and McDonough, but we don't. Let's go take a look at actually, we're going to save the player progression for the end of the regular season, actually the end of the postseason even. So let's go ahead and move on. We'll take a look at the awards, the Stanley Cup winning team, then we'll take a look at our player progression, and then it's time for the draft. So we actually made really good time. There were quite a few injuries, but I feel like we made pretty good time, considering we started off with the rest of the last off season. Had to sim through the entire regular season. We should make the draft within the next 10 minutes. you would hope, depending on kind of what pops up when it comes to, like looking at certain stats or anything. Maybe there's just some like crazy progression from an unsigned player that we're not expecting and that we freak out over that for a couple of minutes. We'll see. So, yeah, we're making good time. Shockingly, I thought the episode was going a bit slowly towards the start, as we're about to find out who won the Stanley Cup. Will it stay in the Western Conference? They've been fairly dominant so far in this series. Who's it gonna be? Let it be the Bruins, please. Let it be the Bruins, man. Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets have won the Stanley Cup. Let's actually sim straight to draft day. That way we'll take a look at everything. Actually, no, wait, stop. Well, I guess retired players won't really affect it too much. Let's go look now. It should be fine. Let's take a look at the awards. We'll take a look at the Winnipeg Jets and what a Stanley Cup winning team apparently looks like. Take a look at them first, actually. So the Winnipeg Jets led by Colin White. Let's see, on offense, they were led by Colin White, Max Domi, Barkov, Huberdeau, Jaden Schwartz, Kopitar at 35 years old, Kyle Connor, Martin Nakash, Lewis Gallagher, Patrick Maroon, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Cedric Paquette, and Jansen Harkins. On defense, Ryan Merkley with Riley Bachman, Alec Martinez, Marco Scandella, Jacob Chikrin, Rasmus Anderson, and Rasmus Sandin. The goaltender was Eunice Korpisalo. Decent team. Not all that surprised that they had success. We'll take a look at the playoff tree. They beat Columbus in 7 games. Taking a look at the awards, as I mentioned, the Western Conference has been pretty damn dominant. Malkin wins the Art Ross, Vasilevsky the Hart, the Norris goes to Risto, Malkin the Lady Byng, Pusher won the Calder, Conn Smythe goes to Korpisalo, Vasilevsky the Vezina, and the Jennings. The Masterton goes to, Josh Jacobs? I can't remember his first name. I can't. And whenever I see a J. Jacobs on Boston, that's Josh isn't the name I typically think of. The Selke goes to Draisaitl. It's been Draisaitl and McDavid over the past 4 years. Vasilevsky wins to Ted Lindsay as a goalie, which is incredible. And the Rocket Richard goes to Ovi. Down in the AHL, did we take home any hardware? That is the question, and we did not, which is to be expected, of course. So let's go take a look here at our player progression, and we'll take a look at the draft class one more time, actually. Figured we should probably see who is there. So McDonough is flat out a 94. He got better at quite a few things, especially on the offensive side. What can he really get better at defensively? Zanetti, holy shit, is an 80 through natural growth, but an 85 through statistical growth. So call him an 80, call him an 85. Regardless, Abraham Zanetti is turning out to be a fairly solid pickup for us. Tom Wilson, he's an 80, but he was playing like an 83. McDonald, same thing, is at least an 80 or an 82. Nolan Foote is flat out an 82. Nothing from Hines. He didn't regress, though. He got a little bit better in the poise category, but his development has no doubt been screwed over by the whole locker room system. Ranta declined a little bit. Graves up to a 77 or an 80. Consider it whatever you want. Let's take a look here. Downing is a 75/76. Roberts is up to a 74. Again, which is good considering he's 23. Don't know why I put so much emphasis on Roberts. Justice is a 76, but right now showing up as a 74. Yuri Lyson improved by quite a bit. Let's see. Marcus Brodin up to a 73 at 20 years old. That is tremendous. We have our goalie for the future right there. Callie Sjugren, who we did not sign, is up to a 73 as a 19-year-old grinder. Medium bottom 6 potential, so that's not too bad. Tokarski's a 72. Primo's a 71. Rodney Thompson went up 3 points to a 69. Zach Aronson continues his development, up 8 points, up to a 69. Medium elite grinder, of course, 20 years old. Kevin Ball's up to a 69. Surprised he is still improving. Dalton Galley is locked in at a 68. Alcock basically locked in as well. Herdina's a 67. Hickett's is a 67. Flynn is a 67. 21 years old. Still that medium top six potential, but I got a feeling he's a Connor Roberts type. Matty Solani, no real improvement. Chung, actually, no real improvement, but kind of declined. Kip Rourke is a 64. Stefan Lapointe, who we did not sign, went up 7 overall points, so that is definitely the way to go. Leonard Barlow's a 64. Acoin's a 63. Gabo's a 63. Gillies went up 5 points, not bad for an enforcer. Jesus Beta went up 3 points to a 62. Slight improvement from Clint Arnott. Great improvement from Neil Green, our medium top six enforcer, 61 overall at 20 years old. Kenny Mauer's a 60 now. Chorney's a 59. Cowan's a 58. Lettinen's a 57. So there you go. Some very solid improvement. I'm actually surprised. Some players definitely progressed a bit more than I would have expected. So not too shabby. As far as the upcoming draft is concerned, let's take a look at what we're dealing with here one more time. As again, we won't be going after that certain player, but we have our 2 power forwards here in McKinley and Darling, which, I mean, if you believe the potentials that are showing up here, Darling is the one to go with over McKinley. We'll see what they look like once we get to the actual draft board. So that is a little bit concerning. Just a little bit. Is there anybody else here who might be, say, medium elite? Hordachuk could be a very strong goaltender, but we don't need him at this point. Anybody else? Gauthier we don't have to worry about. And there is an elite goaltender, Jerome Jelena, who could be a very solid pickup, but I don't think that's going to happen. Do we have any exact elites that we know of so far? Just Jelena, and of course Gordon Riddle looks to be absolutely ridiculous. So that pretty much covers it. We'll go ahead and move into the draft at this point. I wish his name was Ross Boss. I would have to draft him. That is not the case. And actually, you know what? Let's look for enforcers very quickly. That was pretty much the original point of checking this out. Let's go ahead and skip down. Do we have any enforcers on defense? That is my first question. Oh my God, do we? And we have Ned Drummond, Lou Pierce, Jake Vigilante, Colton Garnett, and Colton Cairns. None of them are projected to be drafted. The only one who won't be in the draft next year is Colton Garnett. So we'd have to make that decision on whether or not we want to go for one of them. It's not a requirement that we take an enforcer. You got Vauclair, Thornton, Guru, and Clinton Lamb on the left. Jesus, there's so many enforcers. Spencer McIntosh, Mark Leclerc, Ian Tarnasky, Guy Goudreau, Evan Bartlett, and Carl Donnelly. And then at center, no enforcers. It's actually kind of rare to see a center enforcer, at least from my experiences. So let's go ahead and get to the draft. We'll see as far as taking enforcers go. We still do need to focus on just getting some kind of quality in. We end up with the 5th overall pick, which for this draft isn't exactly a disaster. And we know we're going after one of those 2 power forwards. We got our gift last year. I'm cool with it. I would, wow, Big Reg at 23 years old. Big Reginald Chung has retired. Oh, that sucks. Reg is gone. No goalies retired. There we go. Really, our first player to retire. 165 games played, 12 points. The former 4th round selection. So long to Big Reg. That is a heartbreaker. Like, really, that sucks. Big Reg retires. I mean, it makes room for some other players who are more likely to develop. But sad day to have one of the OGs leave this series, as we'll sim to our pick. Of course, we're going to go back and look. Yep, franchise at 79. Not quite a 92, though. Holy shit, the top of that draft. Those first 3 picks were all tremendous. My God. Well, let's hope that theme will continue a bit here with whoever we end up with, although it probably won't. Likens, how good is he? Now, I know immediately people are going to be like, 6'4", take him, which I don't necessarily disagree with, as Darling still shows up as the better player between the two power forwards. So we don't have any information on Eric Darling, and we don't have any information on Likens. Why our scout isn't scouting, WHL defensemen, I have no idea. So it's either we go for the forward or we go for the defenseman, that we transition over to a defensive D-man. Now, typically I like to actually just draft power forwards, because if you draft a two-way and change them to a defensive D-man, it doesn't exactly guarantee that they're still going to kind of develop into a more physical player, even though you can kind of force them to play a physical style. When looking at our forwards here, though, I mean, we still need help everywhere, right? But we have some decent potentials. I think we need that extra... we need that extra defensive help. And if anything, this draft, we should focus on the defense. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to kind of break that rule here then. Or it's not even necessarily a rule. We've been so indecisive on it the entire time. We're going to go for Likens. He fits the bill. We'll change him to a defensive D-man. Clinton Likens, the Canadian, is my selection, and you know what? I'm perfectly all right with breaking my own rule, all things considered. Medium elite, 77 overall. He will instantly be on the NHL team. Again, we'll change him to a defensive defenseman. That way he hopefully plays a certain style. Clinton Likens, welcome to the team. And again, considering we needed that defensive help, that was the right choice. Elliott was decent. McKinley, medium top 6, 67, was pretty solid. Was actually a better pick than Darling, and I would have gone with Darling. So again, that just goes to show. I mean, he was showing up as medium top 9. He was showing up as medium top 6. The medium top 9 was better, because that's the way that this works. They said it'd be a weaker draft, but so far, through the first round, my God, has it been solid. You got Price and Gauthier. In the middle of the round, Jelena turned out to be pretty damn good. Hordichuk, also medium elite. Chen, also medium elite. Good Lord. I mean, right there, that Ottawa pick is the first pick where it really kind of fell a bit, but, I mean, Korolev's decent too after two pretty rough picks. I mean, this was a very solid first round, despite what was expected. Now, I am a little bit pissed because we ended up with the second worst record, of course. Calgary had the worst record in the league. They took a medium top 6 power forward, 54 overall. We could have used that for sure. Again, like I said, I kind of want to focus on defense. Oh boy. What are the odds that he's actually that good? We're not going for him. What we do need to focus on here is defense more than anything else. And McArdell down here could be decent, but let's see. We have Voloshenko, who doesn't look great. 6'4" though. We got Medvedov. Don't know a damn thing about him. Rensfeld is an offensive defenseman. That's not going to happen. Sylvain Carpentier is a 6'3" playmaker. And Niscala also the same height. You got Stefan Belanger, Stefan Biega. I mean, McArdle would be the guy as a defensive D-man. He doesn't really have the physical build of a Goon, but it's the potential more than anything that we'd be intrigued in or intrigued by. And then you got Louis Lalancette, which, you got a couple of greens in there. I'd expect him to maybe be mid to high 60s. He might be the pick. He might have to be the pick here. I'm going to call my timeout really quickly because I do want to take a look at everybody that is available to us. We're still under an hour for this episode, so I still feel like we're making fairly decent time. So Voloshenko could work. I mean, it depends on whether or not, we want to trust the potential that's on the board. McArdell or McArdle is solid. Medium top 4, if you can trust that. Lalancette at high top 6. We have this power forward and Len Cleary that we know nothing about. What else do we have here? Finley, we got a Homer. Anybody else? I mean, I'd love to, now, yeah, there's a shitload of greens, right? But also he doesn't fit the build of Goon. I could change into a grinder or whatever. But again, I only want to do that once per draft, really. I only want to do that once per draft. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose of this being Goon Squad. The point is, we're supposed to miss out on a player like this that in the original Draft to Glory, we would have taken. I want it to be that much more difficult. I broke my rule for the first pick. That's the only time I'm going to do it. So let's go ahead and see who else we can find here. We don't have any information really on buyers. At least there was a lot of red there. Boynton as a sniper. No, thank you. All right. I think we're going to go. I mean, because again, we need that defensive help more than anything else. Do I go with Lalon Set? I mean, we have those greens. It's somewhat promising. And we, of course, have quite a few exact numbers as well. With the deking, the wrist shot power. He's not a very strong skater. 76 durability, 71 fighting skill. I'm going to go for him. Louis Lalonset is the selection, and damn it. Medium top 655 overall. Much worse than I would have expected, given his defensive awareness. I mean, there were some teams that ended up with a medium top 6 in the first round, so I guess I'm not too upset. Medvedov would have been a worse pick. Voloshenko would have been about equal of a pick. Georgievic was the selection. Medium top 4, 69 overall. Homer would have been decent, but we've had, oh my god, Biego's medium elites. Finley, medium top 4. All right, well, yeah, we took the wrong defenseman there, didn't we? We absolutely did. Hindsight, though, is 2020. McArdell, not great either. So yeah, hindsight, it's a hell of a thing. Unfortunately, we missed out on getting a half-decent D-man, although most of them were two-ways, if not all of them. So it wouldn't have really worked out. Boys, medium elite. Damn. All right, third round. We ended up with at least a defenseman who's better than the majority of prospects we have now. A medium top 6 has a little bit more value in this series than most of my other series, so I'm not as upset. We do still have buyers here. Junior buyers that we don't know much about. Vyacheslav Nikulin, the Russian power forward that we don't know anything about. Defensive D-man and Travis Carter. Right. Again, I still want to focus on defensemen. It would kind of be nice to get... Actually, we have a 5th goalie in Lapointe, so yeah, I don't need to worry about it. Because we're still probably going to have to run with a Ranta-style goaltender, just to make sure this team is still competitive. Justice is only going to be good enough to be a backup, I'd imagine. Oh, let's see. We got this power forward and Kurt Connolly. I mean, it's pretty much just a crapshoot at this point, which is how it always goes, right? You can't trust the potential as it's listed. Some of the attributes, you really can't trust those. It's a crapshoot. It's just you hope to get lucky, especially too when we are limited to the type of players we're going to be drafting. We have Kent Kessler, 6'5" defensive D-man. Now we didn't even scout once. I'm actually going to sort this out by defense. That's what we're looking for. We have Carter, Roche, no league interest for him. High league interest for Carter, but we don't know anything about him. Yes, I know we're low on time. Eugene Olsen was an offensive defenseman. Sylvain Lefebvre, or Kessler. So it's Kessler or Carter. I don't know a damn thing about Carter, so I'm going for Carter. And going for Carter was a pretty strong choice. Didn't know a damn thing about him. He was showing up as low 7th, medium top 4, only a 54 overall, but a solid potential to end up with. We'll see. Wow, Montreal, they've ended up with quite a few draft steals, have they not? Like, man, can I hire whoever the hell their scout is, because he's doing a wonderful job. Nikulin would have been a spectacular pick. But again, we wanted to focus on defense. Hindsight is 2020. High note, relatively decent. Christek, decent starter. I mean, we still ended up with a solid player. Obviously, there's another player that would have been even better to end up with. But what are you going to do? Kessler was a 55, so thankfully I didn't make that brutal of a mistake. Or even there with Lefebvre. who was a low top 4. All right, so far, decent. I mean, the top pick, very solid. We broke that rule. The past 2 picks have been okay. Carter's a strong pick, low overall. Lalancette is a decent pick, considering it is the Draft to Glory format. So we'll take a look here in the 4th round, unless there's a forward who really kind of wins me over. I'm not all that concerned. Boumediene was a sniper to begin with. We have Dalmont, 67 offensive awareness. Well, the last time we took someone who had 68, 69 offensive awareness, he was still a 50. So I'm not sold at all on Dalmont. The question would be, what is his potential? Would that make it worth selecting him? So I'm trying to fight off yawning. Easier said than done. Like I said, I'm recording this after streaming, as I always do, so tidbit tired. Brendan Kuiper, who the hell knows? And we have a Gabriel Guerin. Oh, let's see. I mean, yes, I know. Jake Dick, haha. Carlotti, Bednar's, Brunette, that we don't know a damn thing about. Stephen Brunette, 17-year-old power forward. We got a Van Kadishin as a power forward with no league interest. Willie Hilbert as a grinder. 20-year-old grinder with no league interest. Is that worth the risk? You know what? I got a feeling, out of players I am considering selecting here, legitimately, Guerin could be decent. Brunette could be very good. I'm really worried about missing out on Hilbert, but I am going to go with Dalmont. Maurice Dalmont, the defensive D-man. Let's hope for the best. Yeah, that's what I expected. High top 6 this time, only low top 6, 56 overall. Tremendous. So I'd say we've hit on 2 picks and we've missed on 2 selections. So not quite the success rate that we were looking for in this draft. Is there anybody great that we missed out on? Brunette, not as good as I would have thought. Yep, there it is. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Oh my god, I knew it. Medium elite, 70 overall grinder at 20 years old. I fucking knew it. I just, the fact that he had no league interest whatsoever, was an overage grinder. I knew he was going to be good. I had to take the risk with the defenseman. God, help me. That makes it so much worse. That makes it so much worse. This draft is now officially in negative territory. We need to turn it around with one of these last 3 picks. That is a disaster. I literally flat out said, I wanted to make sure I had it on record that I thought he might be decent. I wanted to take the risk with the defenseman and at least hope he had a solid potential, and he didn't. God damn it. I had a feeling that when I saw he was 20, no league interest, I had a feeling he was going to be great. And he was. And he was. What? That's the challenge of this, guys. Knowing that, I mean, that much more, we need to make the most of these selections when we can only select certain types of players. It makes it that much more important. Do I select Ron Howard? That's tremendous. There's another grinder here. High league interest, though, so I'm not just going to take a grinder because we missed out on a grinder. That wouldn't make all that much sense. Fit the 6th round here. Defensive D-man in Tarnstrom. We don't know anything about him. Galiev, 19. Don't know enough about him. At least not to take the risk on that play style again. Oh, who else do we have here? Defensive D-man and Mark Walls. All right, we got that other grinder who we know is not going to be too good. We have the no league interest, Pete Lang. He doesn't quite fit the bill stature-wise, but this is the same type of player that we just passed up on that made us pay for it, so we're taking Lang. Medium top 664. See, that, and even then, that's probably what the grinder more than likely would have ended up being, right? maybe like medium top 9. How could we have expected medium elite 70? Like, I'm definitely not saying I knew he was going to be that good. I didn't. Saprikin, 76 overall. Damn. Tursunbayev, a 79 overall. Medium top 4 in the 5th round. Good lord. There's, Sparks. Oh, Sparks was the selection. I gotta admit, guys, this isn't going well. I feel like the regular season sim went relatively well. We got some good progression out of players. The first season from McDonough, I feel like we're in a good spot, but obviously hindsight's a major factor here with some of these picks, but it's not happening for us. It's just not happening. We've taken all defensemen in this draft. Likens was solid. Carter was decent, but a low overall. And other than that, I mean, yeah, it's a whole bunch of average, which, again, does work for the series that we're running. But it's who we've missed out on. Players that we were considering taking that we didn't and immediately paid for. That's been the problem. Now we have Thomas Enroth, no league interest. 18-year-old grinder. Rich Rawlings as well, 6'5", defensive D-man. Dubilowitsk. Hold on, let me look at Rawlings again. Don't know anything about him. We do have stats on Dubilowitsk, though. 66 defensive awareness, so I don't expect him to be great. He's going to be about a 50. Somewhere in the 50s. What about Maxwell? Same thing. You can expect Maxwell to maybe be in the 60s, but not by much. Again, the problem is with those two, what is their potential? We just don't know. And that is the problem. I'm all right with low overalls as long as they have a potential where they're actually going to grow. Bradley Devin, we don't have any info on him at all. High league interest, though. So we have Devin as an option. We have Maxwell or Dubilowitz. We could go for Rollins or Enroth. That's what it comes down to for me. Both are 18. Rollins is 19. Again, we need extra defensemen. I'm committing to the focus on D-man. We're going for Rollins. Rawlings, you awful, awful defenseman. Medium 7th. 59 overall. This is one of our worst drafts yet, if not the worst. I mean, we're at least, adding bodies to the team. Maxwell wasn't any better. We're at least adding, players to the team, and that helps, whatever. I mean, really, unless we take, like, low AHL guys, it's not an outright disaster. Devin wouldn't have been much better of a selection. I mean, unlike in, say, the Hartford series, where we could trade the picks, we don't, and then we just miss on all of them, it's not as much of a disaster to end up with medium top 6 or even medium 7th guys that can help out. But again, it comes down to the players. Fisher was low elite. Of course he was. Of course he was low elite. Only a 53. But again, that's another grinder. Another grinder that we missed out on. We missed out on a low elite and a medium elite in this draft. The difference comes with the players that we've been missing out on. And we have missed out on some very solid players in this draft. Also players that we were considering selecting. Now, obviously, with hindsight, and I'm going to keep throwing that out there, because some people are like, oh, I can't believe you didn't pick that guy. It's like, I've been sitting here explaining my whole thought process. It's like, okay, we don't know anything about this guy. We kind of know a bit more about this guy. Here are the attributes. They're awful. They're red. You get the point. Don't kick me while I'm down, man. It's been a rough go. It's been a rough go for me. It's been a rough go for Rocky Marr, 18 years old, high league interest. Don't know if we can trust that. Do we take an enforcer just to make myself feel better at this point? We have this power forward, Geoffrey Conboy, 17 years old, no league interest. We have another power forward, Casey York, 19 years old. The medium elite offensive defenseman in Bernard Giroux. Oh, and that's where it ends. So do we have any info on someone who's not projected to be drafted, right? That's the first step. And we do. An exact top 4 two-way. Edwin Burnett, he fits the bill. Just to salvage this draft, I'm breaking the rule and I'm taking Burnett. Low top 4, 66, whatever. It is what it is. I will gladly break the rule again Let's scroll through here and see who we missed out on, though. It's going to be a little bit time-consuming, I guess, to scroll through all of this, but... yeah, you know what? Screw it. Bottom line is, it was a very average draft where we focused solely on defensemen to add some names to this team where we so desperately needed it. Of course, that defensive situation is pretty rough. These guys, like Dalton Galley, Kevin Ball, Jack Alcock, who aren't going to improve. We needed to get some fresh faces into that defensive prospect pool. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out for us when it came to missing out on grinders in particular, who could have been great additions to this team. Now, as far as the goaltending goes, I think I'm going to cut Ranta, more than likely. Yeah, he doesn't get along with anyone I'm really concerned about. We're going to get rid of Ranta. We're going to get rid of Kaskisuo as well. And I still don't have to sign LaPointe for another season, so we'll let him continue to improve on his own. When it comes to the defense, Hines needs to be signed. I'm going to give him more money than what he wants, and hopefully that cheers him up a little bit. Let's give him 5. I could give him a little bit more, but let's only give him 5 for the moment. Jake Dotchin, we're going to look to bring back. Might as well. I mean, he fits the Goon squad build pretty damn well. We'll sign him to a $5 million contract. Jamie Alexiak didn't really regress, which is nice, so we'll look to bring him back at 3.5. Of course, we're going to outright sign Likens. That makes all the sense in the world. Sam Morin and Ben Sherratt can be let go. Yet again, Ben Sherratt hits the free agent list. And do we have to sign anybody? We don't have to sign Burnett, Lang, Rollins. Yeah, see, at least we have some defensemen, in this pool now, as opposed to who's signed. Rourke, who's awful. Solani, who is awful. Hicketts isn't great. Galley isn't great. Ball isn't great. We needed to do that. It's just, there's a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth when you missed out on some of those players. As we'll look to sign Zanetti to that 4-year deal. We'll bring back Tom Wilson for the season. I mean, he's a pretty damn solid player at this point as a third-line guy, but it makes sense to bring him back. We'll bring Mike McCarron along as well. Someone didn't get along with Kyle Clifford. I think it was McDonough. So we're going to let go of him. Left wings, Nolan Foote needs to be signed. How would you instead like to sign? Oh, you know what? I'll give him the 2 years because in prior games, if you sign someone to longer contracts, like if I were to sign them for 8 years, that has been known to stunt player development if you sign them to a contract longer than what you should actually be giving them. So I'm not going to do that. We'll bump up Credile's contract a little bit. Mario Lucia can stay as well. And Tokarski needs to be re-signed. Only wants a 1-year deal. That's all right. And I think we're good. We're good for left wings. What about centers? We'll look to bring back John Stevens. Get him up to about 2.5. Donato can stay. Thankfully, most of these guys haven't regressed. So it's kind of the reason I'm more willing to accept them. Accept them staying, I should say, this year. Turgeon can stay. Connor Roberts needs to be re-signed. Still only wants a 1-year, 2-way deal. We'll bring him in, and we are good. Sjogren's decent, but I think I'm going to take that main strategy of not signing players until they have to be signed. Because unsigned players are continuing to develop at a pretty good rate. So let's see here. As far as re-signing players go, Alexiak, Likens, McCarron, Wilson, Turgeon, is anybody going to decline? That is my question. And the answer is no. So that's good. Let's just double check. We have 46 locker room chemistry at this point in time. We're building upon what we've already established, $38 million in cap space. We know we're going to have to bring in a goaltender, or 2 goaltenders. Our defense, we need a 6th defenseman. So let's see, we need 2 goalies, a defenseman, and then for forwards, we're probably good. based on the amount of players that are progressing. So we'll take a look at what that looks like. We're going to get the team set up for next episode. In this episode, we're committing to that as it stands. So let's go ahead and get the free agency. Again, 2 goaltenders, a defenseman, maybe 2. Maybe. We'll see. Might be worth having that 1 extra signing just because of the crazy amount of injuries. We'll see. It really depends on our player development, but I want to end this episode on a bright note as opposed to what just happened there with the draft. That was a little bit rough. So we're still going to want a starter. I don't really want to go for John Gibson. So I think I'm going to go for Markstrom, who's at least a starter. Give him 1 year. Give him a shitload of money. Just because. Let's go $17 million for 1 season. Why not? And then on defense, let's at least look. Although Bishop would have definitely fit the bill for being, a larger person. Oh, Sam Morin. Do we want to bring you back? I mean, he wasn't happy here. And each time we brought back Ben Sherratt to be like, hey, you're going to be happy this time? The answer is always no. Let's bump up England. Give him. I just realized I didn't have to reset the contract type, but let's give England, I don't know, like $5 million. Sounds good. That should pretty much guarantee that he signs. And Luke Shen, we've signed a couple of times. Hetherington as well. Jacobs, what the hell is your name? Is it Josh? It is Josh. There you go. Former 2nd round pick of the Devils. We'll look to bring him in. He's got a black eye in his picture, so it fits the bill for the Goon squad. And actually, let's see, we had the $17 million deal, a $5 million deal. Oh boy, yeah, I'm gonna have to sign him to quite a bit of money, so let's go ahead and let this scroll. Let it scroll. Let it scroll. I mean, actually, yeah, I kind of gotta get this up to like $9 million. Could have gone the other way, perhaps. That might have been a little bit more quick, but that's okay. There we go. 9.025. And we should be all right for the moment. The main question is, what kind of improvement will we see from our prospects? Jacobs, Englund, and Markstrom have all accepted, so let's go ahead and move forward to the start of the preseason. We'll get the team set up, and hopefully, as I mentioned, we can end this episode in a bit of a happier mood. I mean, rather than ending it with, well, we fucked that draft up, the end. Which, like I said, there are some positives to it. Definitely some negatives. It's just funny, though, how a 20-year-old grinder with no league interest is, of course, medium elite 70 overall. That is a heartbreaker, if there ever was one. I mean, really, I think that's probably the best way to put it, right? That is somewhat devastating. It's those type of misses where, it's just, you just want to hate everything. But that's all right. Like I said, we will recover. We will make the best of it. Regardless, the team did improve. So I'm feeling good. I got a feeling that we might be seeing a 95 overall defenseman here. Even if we're not, I'm kind of okay with that. Let's see. So, roster moves. Actually, I meant to sign 2 goalies, didn't I? Whoops. Brodin, holy hell. Alright, so Justice, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're going back to the minors. Brodin's going to be the backup this season. I still need to go out and sign that 5th goalie. But yeah, Brodin is a monster. McDonough's a 94. Alright, Andreas Englund is going to be sent down. Likens is going to stay. So, I'm sorry for Englund. At least until we see that Likens has improved and we can guarantee that I don't have to keep putting him back into the lineup. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to call up Bruce. Actually, here, let's call up Englund for the moment, I suppose. And then for forwards, Zanetti's an 85, Foot's an 84, Graves and McDonald are both 82s. Roberts is a 77. Hold on. Back to defense, just for a minute. Englund and Bruce. Yeah, so we have one too many forwards. I don't know, for some reason the math just wasn't playing out right in my head. So we'll send him down, and then we're basically good. I just need to go and sign that extra goaltender, and then we're fine. So let's see. It's Foote, Graves, and Zanetti. McDonald with Turgeon and Wilson. Connor Roberts is in. He's currently on the fourth line. I'll swap him for McCarron. I mean, he is listed as a minor league checking forward, but it makes sense to play him. Unless I were to sign one more forward who kind of fits the bill of fourth line forward, and then that way Roberts gets one more year down in the AHL, and that actually sounds like a really good idea. So we need one more forward and one more goaltender. Likens gets put into the lineup by default, but then again, we sent down Englund, right? Yeah, we sent down Englund. Shit. Okay, so backup goaltender. Fifth string goaltender. And so it's going to be someone below a 77. And we also need a fourth line forward. Or better. It could technically be better. So forwards, let's go look at the physical ratings. We have Stewart, Brohl, Kyle Clifford. But we know he doesn't get along with McDonough. So we could go AJ Greer, or we could go Tyler Bertuzzi. Greer is listed higher up. For that reason, he'll be the one that we look to sign. Now, let's look for a veteran goalie who might be below a 77. And that could be Craig Anderson, that could be Henrik Lundqvist. Or it could be Tuukka Rask, which, yeah, I'm gonna save Tuukka Rask from toiling away on the free agent list, because of course I am. That's bias for you. Bruins-based bias. Let's hit sim to regular season until we get an answer from those two. There we go. Sweet. Let's get the team set up again. And we'll end the episode by looking at who is available in the upcoming draft. So let's see. Goaltending. Again, we'll bump up Tuukka. Defense. Let's bump up these two and just hope we can get that to work. And then forward-wise, we'll send down Connor Roberts for Greer to hope that Roberts develops a little bit better at the AHL level. So let's see. Will Likens be in the lineup by default? No, he will not. It puts in Englund. That is unfortunate. So I'm going to have to change that around very quickly, tediously, but very quickly. So we got Englund and Bruce. We'll send them down, we'll go best lines, and then we'll call them back up. So let's see. Forwards. That gets Likens in the lineup. Go back to roster moves. And defense. Defense, bump, bump. Defense, Englund, and Bruce. There we go. So that pretty much takes care of that. Foote, Graves, Zanetti, and McDonald are still the main four at the NHL level. And on defense, it's still McDonough and Hines. Hopefully he can get back to improving. And we have Clinton Likens, who I am going to be changing to a defensive D-man. The good thing is he is a somewhat physical player already. He's actually a very well-rounded two-way. And then, of course, Markstrom is our goaltender. With Marcus Brodin, we have two Swedish goaltenders. That's never failed us before. Down in the AHL. Oh, what do we want to do here? So goaltenders, Anuin and Mikola. The defense, we got to take out Vainio again for Rourke. It's basically the same defense we have seen for a while now. Alcock and Ball, though, continue to get better, which is nice. They're actually going to be the top pairing. We'll have Hicketts with Galley. Galley is now 25. That's how far into this we already are, where Galley is 25 years old. Oh, let's see. Gabbo. Warren Gabbo needs to get into the lineup. Green needs to get into the lineup. This is where we could start to run into trouble. In the original Draft to Glory, again, we had the ability to not necessarily worry about playing guys out of their role, but still not having to worry about locker room chemistry. The locker room chemistry has screwed over this entire series, so I can't necessarily call up like Roberts, Downing, and Lyson and have this work out tremendously well. I mean, we've tried it, and it kind of backfired and sabotaged Hines a little bit. And we have McDonough, who I desperately want to avoid having issues with throughout the course of this series. So I think we just have to wait until these guys are actually NHL ready before they get the call-up. It's just the way it's got to go. So the lowest potential guys, so someone like Josh Coyne here, unfortunately, is going to be the one to suffer, as he'll be out for green. Anybody who is bottom 6 is going to get dropped to these lower pairings for the moment, which means probably Beta. Yeah, Beta's the oldest one and the lowest overall. He'll be the next one to get taken out of the lineup if that's the case. Chorney's medium bottom 6. Of course, a Coyne is there. Koivisto isn't ours. Gillies. In fairness, I mean, we only have a couple of guys that are sitting, so it's not a complete disaster. It's still just a little bit unfortunate. Basically, there are some casualties to having to run the certain style that we are at the moment. Oh, let's see. So we know Herdina can play center. So there we go. That's taken care of. And then let's see. Medium elite, low elite, medium top 6. Let's go to medium top 6. On the so let's see. Medium elite, medium top 6, medium top 6. That works. The best center is going to be Lyson, of course. And we have a Ronson with Roberts and Flynn. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. The team is looking relatively strong. The only thing we got to do now is change Likens over to a defensive D-man. And then, of course, we'll take a look at the upcoming draft class. So the balancing act continues. No doubt the balancing act continues with trying to get this series to where we want it to be. Different approach, different tactics are having to be used, but I feel like we're going to get there. One way or another, we're going to get to where we want to be with this series. Likens, by the way, why isn't my right bumper working? There we go. Number 19 on defense, Likens. Worth going off the board or off of our strategy to draft him, no doubt. Speaking of the draft, as we wrap this episode up, let's see what we're dealing with the upcoming draft class. Is there another franchise level player? That's question number 1. There is not. However, that top 5 looks to be glorious. Dustin Stewart, and then 2 grinders, Robinson Cowan and Jonas Wharton? Probably Jonas Wharton. Holy hell. And then there's even a Sheldon Helms outside of there. So, yeah, as it stands, we have some targets inside that top 5. I'm feeling pretty damn good about our chances. We also have quite a few power forwards in the first round. So I think we're going to be in good shape for that next draft. It's just a matter of, whether or not the scouting works out for us. So guys, that will do it for this one. I'm certainly looking forward to the next episode as we continue to see the player development on this team and whether or not I can actually manage to have a better draft next time out. But I thank you so much for supporting this series. You know what you can do to support this video. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. The notification bell, all that fun stuff. Links are in the description to my Twitter and Twitch. Check me out on there and give me a follow if you haven't already done so. And until next time, as you'll get a look at the face of Frederick McDonough, until next time, have a good one. Take it easy. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.